Off the plate. And tagged and saved.
So that's why they call him El Mago. Javier Baez is the magician. Unfortunately, though, he was not safe. They went to the replay and they saw that Josh Hader did, in fact, make the tag, so he was called out. But there's so much to talk about today. Welcome back to yet another MLB recap. This might be the juiciest MLB recap of the season so far because the dark age for the Houston Astros, it might not be over yet because that cloud of the cheating scandal, it might affect free agency next season. I never put two and two together. Like, oh, maybe these guys want a fresh start, and scouts are now coming out about that story. We're also going to talk about how Indians players, star players, were going to opt out if they did not punish Mike Clevinger and Zach Plesac. And then last but not least, Bo Bichette's injury in his right knee. It's actually a whole lot worse than what we might have thought. So make sure you guys buckle in, get a beverage, get a snack, because it's going to be a bumpy ride. Now, if you guys missed the Astros game yesterday, it was a pretty solid one. They were playing the Mariners yet again. Justice Sheffield, he has been pitching his butt off. He held the Astros to 1 earned run in 6 innings. But the Astros were able to complete the comeback as Kyle Tucker yanks a walk-off home run to get the Astros above 500 for the first time in quite some time. And also, just because I'm trolling you guys lately, I know it's not Framber Alvarez, it's Framber Valdez. I was just yanking you guys' chain. Now, I'm not trolling on this next subject. This is a legitimate article that came out. Scouts and reliable sources around the league are now coming out and saying that the Astros are not going to look the same in 2021 because their star players, anyone from George Springer to Yuli Gurriel to Michael Brantley or Josh Reddick, I wouldn't really consider Josh Reddick to be a star anymore, but they're all free agents after this season, and it's perfectly fine to say that they might want a fresh start and leave. So they called it an exodus in the making, and honestly, it makes so much sense. I would not want to be on a cheating team either. I'd want to get as far away as possible. So if you're an Astros fans, just really get thick skin now because it could get worse. Now, before we talk about the Indians and Mike Clevinger as well as Zach Plesac yet again, because there's some more juice to the story, I do want to showcase the Chicago White Sox because they made history yesterday. They were the first team since 2008 when the Chicago White Sox hit 4 home runs in a row. They did it again 12 years later. They might be my favorite team, aside from the Indians, in all of baseball to watch. They're just super exciting.
Heads to Moncada. Yoan drills it. Oh, boy. In the air, left field. Eloy Jimenez to the line, and gone again. 4 in a row.
Dakota Hudson threw a gem, and then as soon as he was taken out of the game, poor Roel Ramirez got lit up, to say the least, giving up 6 earned runs, 4 home runs in a row. Dallas Keuchel throws yet another gem. He lowers his ERA to 3.07. Now we're going to move on to the story that broke about 2 seconds ago, was that Oliver Perez, he has been elite for the Tribe the last 2-3 seasons coming out of the pen, and he's probably our most important player coming out of the pen in 2020. He came out and said that if Clevinger and Plesac were allowed to play, he would sit out. He would opt out of the season. And ever since that moment happened, the Indians have been playing better. They won their 20th consecutive game in a row against the Detroit Tigers. Francisco Lindor is hitting bombs. Jose Ramirez is hitting home runs off lefties. And Franmil Reyes hit this ball. I don't think it's landed yet. It was estimated at 453 feet, but I would call BS on that. I mean, that ball had a family. So what do you guys make of the Indian situation? Do you think that they're going to leave Plesac and Clevinger down? Because if they do that for the next 16 to 20 days, they can manipulate the service time to avoid free agency for both of those guys. Clevinger for 1 more year and Zach Plesac for 2 more years. So this could be one of the more costly mistakes that a player's ever made, because they could cost themselves literally millions of dollars just because they wanted to go out with buddies. Now, I do also want to talk about the Tigers because they are calling up Casey Mize, Tarek Skubal, and then Isaac Paredes. I hope I said all of those names right. If I didn't, I'm sure I'm going to get the comments in the comment section down below. But if these guys can perform the way that they're projected to perform at, watch out for the Tigers, because that's really all that they need is better pitching. Zach Wheeler put salt in the wound yesterday as the Phillies sweep the New York Mets. I say the salt was in the wound because he used to be a member of the New York Mets, and the Mets could use his services really more than any team because they are a bubble playoff team there. They're solid, but they need pitching, and guess what? Zach Wheeler was on the team and they decided to let him walk. The Phillies are now 2 games ahead of the last place Mets. The young prospect, now rookie Alec Boehm, doubles yet again, and Bryce Harper raises his batting average to .364. And then on top of that, Andrew McCutchen turned back the clock. He looked like MVP Pirates McCutchen on this swing. We're going to move on to the Dodgers now because we talked about Alec Boehm, we've talked about Casey Mize. All of these top prospects are making their debuts in 2020. And the same goes for Keibert Ruiz. That is actually kind of hard to say. He homers in his first ever AB. He's a switch hitting catcher. I think that he is going to be a monster. And when you combine that with Mookie Betts and Max Muncy, their clutch hitting, Kyle Seager adds to his MVP campaign with the 3-run home run, they're going to be tough to beat. And on the opposite side of the diamond, the Angels, you have Anthony Rendon hitting 5 home runs in his last 6 games. You have Mike Trout going off. Joe Adell smacked a 115-mile-an-hour base hit, yet the Angels fall to 3-7 in their last 10 games, 7-15 on the year, and 4th in the AL West.
Breaking ball away, rolled over to Ruiz, and the ball gets away. Short arm throw, got him on the slider, low and away. Game over, series over. And this was a hard-fought Baltimore battle today.
The Nats bullpen was able to shut it down after taking the lead in the 8th inning, so they get the W. But I do want to shout out Anthony Santander of the Orioles, who is now up to 7 home runs and is second in RBIs with 22. On top of that, Pedro Severino, their catcher, has 5 home runs and 18 RBIs, hitting well above 300 as a catcher. So don't mess with the Orioles offense. That is not a fun day if you're a pitcher. So the Rays picked up 2 Ws yesterday after their first game was suspended by rain. They picked it up yesterday. Brandon Lau hit a home run for the 4th consecutive game as they went 3-2. But in the second game, it was also the Rays' day to shine. Now, Yoshitomo, I think that's how you say it, he hit a 3-run bomb, and then Willy Adames of the Rays hit the first ever non-10th inning, extra inning home run in the history of baseball. So does that make sense? Because a normal game, if it goes into extras, that's the 10th inning. Well, in doubleheaders now, they only play 7 innings. So when you go to the 8th inning, that is now extra innings. So Willy Adames hits an extra inning, 8th inning home run. Just wild to say. Now, of course, the Rays were playing the Blue Jays, and unfortunately, Bo Bichette is going to the IL with a right knee sprain. Yesterday, I said left. I want to correct that. It's a right knee sprain. He could be out until September. That is a massive blow. Now, one player I did not talk about yesterday that's also going on the IL is Ronald Acuna Jr. He was just starting to come around and mash. He's going down with a wrist injury. The Braves picked him up. 5 different pitchers shut out the mighty Marlins, and they suddenly have lost 2 in a row. They're 5-5 in their last 10 games. I think the Marlins had a really nice streak, but again, they're not a very good overall team. They're probably going to have a rough go at it for the rest of the season unless the Miami Marlins magic continues.
Ball and a strike to Ford. That one sent out to shallow right center field. It drops in.
2-0. Swung on and hit in the air to deep right. That ball is high. It is far. It is gone. Mike Ford hits a 2-run home run deep to right.
Next up, we have the Yankees beating the Maroon Sox. Again, I refuse to call this team the Red Sox because it is just, that's not what they are. They just look like a shell of themselves. J.A. Happ finally looks good, and Mike Fort was compared to Babe Ruth by none other than A-Rod. He drives in 3 runs, and the Yankees improved to 15-6. Now, one other team in the American League that I want to compare the Yankees to is the Oakland A's. Now, are they the team to beat in the American League, or is it still the Yankees? Because the A's, they look frightening. Or perhaps maybe the Giants are just that bad. They were tied 2-2 going into the 5th inning, and then they erupted. Chad Pinder and company, they put up a fat 7 spot, and they ended up winning 15-3. Piscotty is now up to 17 RBIs. Simeon has homered in back-to-back games. I'm telling you, I don't know who is the better overall team, because the A's, they continue to pour it on offensively, and they also have some pretty decent pitching with Mike Fiers and Frankie Montas and Sean Manaea and Jesus Luzardo. And if AJ Puck comes back solid, I'm telling you, the A's, do not count them out. Padres are the opposite of the A's right now. They are suffering a horrible skid right now as they drop their 5th consecutive game in a row. Cole Calhoun is the Padres killer. You have Eduardo Escobar hitting a home run. They combine for 5 RBIs, and they get a 5-4 win. The Diamondbacks are now a half game ahead of the Padres after they were scuffling to start the season. So who is the better team, the Padres or the Diamondbacks? Because this is exactly how I expected the Diamondbacks to play before the season started.
And this ball's in the air to deep center field. Did he click it? Pulled to Nolan. What a play. Now can he throw him out?
And this will get it done into the right field corner. Story come on down. Charlie heading to second. And that's back at Estevez. And
props to John Gray for coming back after a horrific last start. He gave up, I think, 8 earned runs the last time that he was on the bump. The Rockies, they get 14 base hits and a huge home run from scuffling Ryan McMahon. Charlie Blackmon collects 2 more hits, and again, his batting average is over 400, clearly, as he's hitting 446. Even Ramil Tapia collects 3 base hits. Now, one other player I want to showcase, this is coming from the Brewers game. Keston Hiura is a power second baseman, and he showed that yesterday. He drove in 3. Orlando Arcia also showed up. He steals the show. He goes 3 for 4 with 3 runs. Luis Urias has been on fire, getting on base a bunch of times with yet another 3 hits yesterday. The Brewers collect their 3rd game in a row as the Cubs. They're slowly starting to lose grip on that division lead. I mean, baseball is just wild right now. And then the final game from yesterday, we have the Twins versus the Royals. It was the 3rd consecutive game and the 4th time this year that the team has faced where the score ended up 4-2. So 3 times in a row, 4 times already this year, and the Twins are 2-4 against the Royals. So I don't know why that interests me so much, but I think it's kind of fascinating. Randy Dobnak continues to shine. That was the first time all year that he allowed more than 1 earned run in a single start. Polanco drives in Avila, mini Grady Sizemore, Max Kepler, he hits a 2-run home run and drives in Avila yet again. I'm liking the Twins, man. They're super fun to watch. All right, guys, well, that is going to do it for today's MLB recap. Let me know if you're an Astros fan. Do you think that the team is going to blow itself up in 2021? What do you guys make of the whole Indian situation? Do you think that Plesac or Clevinger should be traded to save face for the rest of the squad? And then also, who's the team to beat in the American League, the A's or the Yankees? Thank you guys for watching. Stay safe and enjoy this day in MLB history.
Kevin Ruddy in the strike 1 pitch is hit in the air to shallow left. Webster's got it. No hitter for Kevin Gross. He and Mike Scioscia throw their arms around each other. The Dodgers mob the big right-hander. And happy birthday, Mrs. Kevin Gross, tomorrow.
Wow, this is something. They're walking Hamilton with the bases loaded.
Joe Madden is saying here, the one thing that can kill me right now is a home run. And Josh Hamilton has hit 28 of them. I'm going to play the percentages. The thing is, Marlon Byrd's hitting close to 300, and now all he has to do is shoot one.